Previously in the anime, Lucille was progressing through the labyrinth by defeating the bosses. But there he discovered that all of the bosses he fought against were once members of the church who died in the labyrinth and turned into undead from the miasma. So the Pope gave Lucille her full support and gave him many items and weapons to support him, and Lucille was doing his job earnestly and thought of becoming strong, however. His fast progress seemed abnormal to Katlia, so Lucille told her he was drinking Substance X to increase his power growth. So Pope told Lucille in a letter that Substance X takes one desire to make the consumer powerful, and Lucille realized he could eat and sleep well. But he doesn't have any sexual desires even after being surrounded by beautiful girls all the time, so what will happen if our protagonist remains impotent and can't stand up from down there? So, as the story progresses, a month has passed and Lucille has continued in the labyrinth, encountering many monsters along the way, and finally he made it to the 40th floor. But this time he didn't rush in carelessly to risk his life on a whim. He goes to the Adventurers Guild, but a little girl grabbed Lucille. So Lucille decided to take her inside first, and just as he opened the door, Nannaella and Monica surprised him. But then other adventurers grabbed Lucille and delivered him to the underground hall where injured people were kept, while healing them. Lucille told Milty to check up on that kid who seemed to need help, but while Lucille was healing others, he remembered a guild receptionist was getting married at Maritoni. So he thought Nannaella and Monica came here to invite him to their wedding, but bro held back his tears and treated everyone there. Milty told him to get to the slums immediately with that kid. It was dangerous, but Monkia and Nannaella wanted to go with him, so Master also gets there with them for extra support. They're just walking by, they smelled the stench of death. And in the center area many beastfolk were on the verge of death. Master recognized them, they were all representatives from the state of Yanes who had been attacked by a band of thieves. But suddenly, a man stood up while being unconscious holding a knife. Lucille wanted to help him, but he stabbed Lucille near his abdomen. It brought back the trauma he once felt when he died for the first time, but he pulled out that knife and used area high heel to save everyone there. Lucille knew the guy just wanted to protect his comrade and instinctively stabbed him. Then Lucille heals other people from the slums and saw that the kid was actually that same beastman's child. Then others bowed down to Lucille to show their gratitude, and Nannaella thought Lucille healed them for free, but a healer can't heal for free, so Lucille accounted this one into a charity. Then Lucille purified the sewers and lectured them to do regular cleaning to prevent plague from breaking out. Then at night, 3 of them gets to a restaurant and Nannaella showed him how worried she was when Lucille got stabbed. Lucille felt pleased to hear that, but then he asked them about their visit to the capital. Monica told him the reason was the marriage and wanted to enjoy before things get hectic, which shattered Lucille, so Monica told him that Melina and Murnell were the ones getting married. Which they told Lucille in their letter, but Lucille told them he didn't get a single letter from them, but shockingly even the girls didn't get the letter from Lucille. So it turns out Master always drinks and party at night, and always forgot to send Lucille's letter or give him any letter. There, Eltais comes and asked Lucille which one is his girlfriend was out of the 2, but 2 guys started talking behind Lucille's back. They were surprised that Lucille had 2 babe-looking GF even though he seems like a loser. Then Lucille told Eltais that Monica and Nannaella were the reason he was able to endure all the training he had gone through from Broad. Lucille wanted to enjoy his time with them. But both girls heard that there were many injured at the guild. They helped Lucille to treat them all the while they were here. Then the time came for them to leave. So Lucille promised them that he would visit Maritoni next time. Then they said their goodbye, and after that day, those guys from slums came to thank Lucille again. They told Lucille that they wanted to open a healers guild in Yanais and met that disaster, but since Lucille saved them, they were able to meet the Pope for this purpose. And luckily the Pope agreed to their request, and the little kid also hugged Lucille to thank him. There, her father told Lucille that she lost her voice in an accident. So Lucille said a few words quietly in her ears. It was an extra heal he casted in an attempt to heal her cords even a bit so she could talk. Then Lucille meets Lumina again to ask about the upcoming boss fight. Lucille was unsure he could beat that boss this time, so Lumina told him to have a spar with her. So Lucille brought out his gear and the duel began. Lumina didn't give Lucille any opening, so Lucille exchanged his sword and threw out that knife at her. It surprised Lumina and she seemed angry. But she was actually glad to see Lucille had become sharper and had become stronger. Then after the spar was over, Lucille was beat and Lumina was happy to see he was progressing in combats. But Lucille noticed Lumina was talking so casually with him, which surprised her. Lumina was flustered because she always sounds tough whenever she talks with anyone. But Lucille liked the friendly way she talks, and told Lumina to be casual around him as he's always happy to talk to her. Then Lumina once again left to the borders, and 6 months had passed after that, but she had left a letter and told Catalia to give him when Lucille finally decides to fight that boss. Lumina had word in the letter about the boss Lucille is about to fight is a pro in swordsplay and spears. So Lucille tried to use purification, but it had no effect on him, and Lucille took a bit of damage and couldn't help but avoid fight. So knowing that he can't win, Lucille brings out Substance X for protection. Its stench become a lifesaver, and after that Lucille tried many times and failed. So he used his drink as shield to take some rest, and just like that many days had passed and Lucille is about to run out of supplies. Then Lucille charges in again after learning his attack pattern and attacked the boss on an opening. There he remembered Broad told him to save his neck because it's the weak point. So to see his waifus again, Lucille strikes its head and the boss vanished away, leaving his spell tome behind, and now that the boss was beat, Lucille wanted to return back. But the door has shut and couldn't open, so he charged forward with the Substance X to creep out the monster from his way and arrives at the 50th floor. But our episode 11 ends there, so to watch more, subscribe the channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.